Okay, now, um, now what we're going to do is somewhere. How about I'll get some cash flow. It, this is just going to be a very simple cash flow, monthly cash flow. Now, 4 times 6 is 240. So let's make it 30. Shift Control 1, 30. Shift Control C. Okay, no growth rate or anything else. So this is just going to be a operating. How about cash flow waterfall? Now, and we'll have our total cash operating cash flow. This is after taxes and everything else. I assume you can't see the fly that's on my screen, but I love this. I'm in Gambia. It's wonderful. Okay, and uh, uh, let's just copy that. Okay, so we might want to change it later. Now, when we do this cash flow waterfall, remember this is the big rule. Start with the debt service account, and once we have the cash flow account, we'll put less deposits into debt service account. Okay, now, okay, if we when we pull things out, we're going to have to make sure we cover both the repayment and the interest. Okay, and we can take all this cash flow and try to cover the repayment and the interest. It looks like I won't be able to cover it, right? Okay, so right now we have 180. Just cover it. So we'll try a couple of different scenarios. Okay. Now, whenever we have something like this, it's kind of like the debt service reserve account. Let's put required debt service. Okay, and this time, we can just add the two together. So that's how much debt service we need until we get to this period. Okay, I've got to be very careful because I think I screwed it up last time in a more complicated kind of model. And then we put less amount in debt service account. This is what you very often do. And then we put required required deposit. Now the big trick is this amount is simply the opening balance, and then we put add deposit, and we get closing balance. Okay, now the big rule here. So let's get our opening balance. Okay, and the difference is this. Okay, and that's going to be used to see if we can stop putting money into the account. Now the opening balance, whoops, the opening is equal to the closing balance, but how much we can deposit in the account depends down here on the cash flow. And in this case, we're going to deposit all of our cash flow. And then once we deposit all of our cash flow, we go down to the next step in the cash flow waterfall, okay, which might be a cash flow sweep. It might be a, well, we better make sure the DSRA account is filled up, for example. So perhaps we'll do a little bit of that, but let's first just get this basic one right. So So this deposit into our account is the minimum of this or the amount we required. So that's how much we're going to put in. Okay, and we can also make sure that this thing is greater than 0. That's the maximum and minimum thing that you'll do every time you have a cash flow waterfall. So the deposit you put in comes from the bottom. Okay, that's a pain. It's not, since we've used the opening balances, there's no circular reference. And now we can copy this across. So let's copy this across. So what happened? We got to we only got to 150. So we this isn't very good. We got to the repayment date and we don't have enough. Okay, and now that's kind of, well, here, let's do it in an easier way first, because we do want to take account of that. Let's put 50. So now in this case we've included everything, so we don't have to take anything out. And the only thing I kind of have a question about is what is happening here. Okay, so what we have to do is, number one, take out the money in this year, and I suppose we start the process over again. But so we add the deposit, and then we put less withdrawal for debt service. Okay. Okay. Now the actual debt service. Let's put the debt service paid. Okay, and that debt service paid is this plus this times, of course I've got to put the brackets in. Okay, so this is the amount we continually have to pay. So we, again, let's put debt service paid. So how about this? We take the amount out. So let's put now the debt service paid, we think, well, debt service requirement. Why don't we put, that's a little more, because what might happen is if we don't have enough to actually pay the debt service. So in that case, what we should do is say, okay, well, the actual debt service paid is the minimum of either this one or the opening balance. When in doubt, use the minimum. And when you use the minimum, it's either got to be some kind of opening balance like this or opening balance like that. So that's how much we pay. Okay. And then we can put, then we can add we can add how much we withdraw from the debt service account. You know, I should have some kind of good example for this. If you've got a bank account, you don't define how much is in your bank account, unfortunately, I know this, until people put it in or take it out. This bank account is a result of your cash flow. Maybe that's too obvious to say. Okay. So this withdrawal from the bank account is withdrawal from the debt service paid is look at me do it the wrong way. We'll just say this is this one. I think that's right. We'll test what happens now. So we again take this away and we adjust our, suppose we can do it like that. I'm sure there's probably some kind of rule against doing that. Okay, so that's how much we have in. So now this is a little bit tricky. We have to think about this really carefully. It's just kind of an end of period problem. Do we take the amount of the debt service out, and then like the instant we take it out, we get to put cash flow in, or do we put the cash flow in later? Okay, and right now, I think so what we're doing is we're taking the money out and then starting the deposit process again. I think that's kind of at the end of the period. And then you gradually build it up, including this one, to the next debt service, and then you don't need any more, and then it's taken out. So if you even wanted to put dividends in this one, we could put the dividends are, we're only going to allow the dividends if the cash flow is the cash flow account is filled up. So what we could do is put a dividend allowed, something like that, and the only way the dividend is going to be allowed is when this required deposit equals 0. I think that's okay. It's just kind of thinking out loud. Okay, so we can pay a dividend on this and a dividend on this, and then once we're finished we can pay all the dividends. So then we could put dividends. Now the dividends, we could put kind of remaining cash flow. And the remaining cash flow is the total cash flow minus the deposits, minus the amount of debt service we pay, plus the amount we repay. Okay. And actually, we really didn't have to, I'm worried about this one, but right now, do we even need the switch? Just a minute. I'm gonna have to think about this a minute, and then I'm gonna come back. Okay, I have made a mistake as usual. I think the much better way to do this, and here was the mistake. This required debt service is always the same. It should be always the same because we have an annuity. What the hell was I doing? So here's the little trick. I don't know if this is the right trick, but in a 6-month period there will be always one payment. So you can use a simple sum. Doesn't matter, we can change the dates around and everything else. That works. We'll show you in a fancier model. Okay, and now we add to that the interest payment. Doesn't really matter what interest payment we take. So that's our debt service payment. And that's always the same. Okay. Now, uh, I think we'll, and now this kind of dividend thing is bullshit. I sorry about that burp. I've not been drinking or anything. Then we uh, then we get all of our remaining cash flow. Okay, and I'll put dividends. Now we'll trap this cash flow. About 8 different things in the cash flow waterfall. Maybe not 8, but whatever. And I think what I'm going to do is save this one, and then we'll make a second video now with the potential for negative cash flow.